You are listening to the FeedBak
Podcast with my homie Back.
Yo, this is back with the FeedBak Podcast, Out of Bounds Comedy Festival, day 6, night
of
6
7.
Of 7.
Yes.
I'm here with Asaf. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Tired
Tired?
as fuck. Can I say tired as fuck?
Yeah, you can. We can curse. Who gives a shit?
Okay. I'm tired as fuck.
So you're one of the producers of this
Yes.
great comedy festival.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the history behind it, how that came about. Longest running in Austin, I believe.
Yeah, it started 18... Well, actually, it didn't start 18 years ago. It started 19 years ago. But this is the 18th year of the festival. I think there was a hiccup one year along the way. And it was started by a group, I believe, called the Well Hung Jury, who is one of Austin's oldest improv groups. And it was just a way to, like, bond the community together and make Austin more well-known to other cities. Before that, there used to be this other festival called the Big Stinkin' Improv Festival.
It was all improv.
I believe it was. There might have been other. I think there was also sketch, but it was primarily improv, and it was huge. But it got so huge that the owners, the producers, went bankrupt.
Really?
Yes. And they would have people from Mad TV and SNL and all these people coming down to be part of this festival.
90s, maybe?
Yeah.
90s in Austin?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I believe it ended 99 or something like that. So this kind of filled that void as a way to reinvigorate the comedy scene and make people more aware of the local comedy, as well as put it on the national map. And that's how I found out about it 13 years ago. I came to this festival, and then 6 months later I moved here.
But you're an improv guy?
I'm an improv guy.
Is that a title? I don't know if that's a title or not.
Yep,
but
sure. Why not?
how did you catch the bug? Like, how long you been doing it? What happened that made you go, this is
This
what I wanna
October will be 29 years that I've been doing improv.
Wow.
Since college.
Why improv? What was it about improv?
Well, I was a writer for many years. I would do a lot of writing of poetry and plays since I was really young. And I like the idea of improv is basically collaborative writing. It's writing on your feet with other people. Right? Making theater automatically. Yeah. And I love that idea. And it's funny because the ironic thing is now I have trouble just sitting down and writing. It's really hard for me to sit by myself and write because I'm so used to bouncing ideas off of other people and building off of what they do with it. But that's what got me interested, and I met some folks in college who also had similar interests, and we just started fucking around, playing some games that we saw on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
See, that keeps coming back. Every improv person I've talked to has said, Whose Line Is It Anyway? It was like the improv show. Like,
you gotta realize that back then there was the Keith Johnstone book.
Okay.
There was the Viola Spolin book. There was the Del Close book on improv. And then that's all the access you had to improv, except for Whose Line Is It Anyway? Right?
Oh,
you know, this is before the internet became what it was, and before Facebook started connecting us, and before most of these national festivals happened. Whose Line became this touchstone of, like, you know, this thing that connected us, that got us inspired wherever we were, and then eventually we found each other, right? So yeah, Whose Line's going to keep coming up for people, especially people my age.
Well, I'm curious. Like when I talk to comics, one thing that I've noticed about them is that they can't turn it off. Like the way they are on stage, they're going to be funny with each other outside. Is improv the same way? Like you can't be sitting at, I don't know, at a coffee shop without just looking at people. Oh, there's a character. There's another one. There's a personality. There's something there that I can inspire. That gets me inspired.
I would normally say yes.
Normally,
I would say yes.
But
I mean, don't get me wrong. Every improv group of improvisers, there are just bits in the air waiting for us to, like, grab them. But I've found the community here, which is one of the reasons why I moved here, had a lot more depth to it. And I especially recognized it when I would go back to New York and I would meet up with old comedy friends, and they could only talk to me about the next project they had going on.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And bits. There would be bits and what project's coming up. But here, I talk about all sorts of things. I was just having some political conversations outside and some social conversations, things like that. And so I think the improv community here in Austin, and I think the comedy community in general, runs a little deeper as far as what they thought. Now, they will go off in bits for really long periods of time, yes, but not nonstop.
Well, I think that, now I've been in Austin 20 years. 21 years, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
But from France. My dad said, moving to Austin. I said, what the hell is that? And here I am. I haven't left. Everybody
Why
else
Austin?
Did. He worked for IBM.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
the job relocated you. So you were young
yeah.
when you moved here.
Teenager, yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't left. Everybody's get the fuck out. Like, I'm getting out of here. I'm like, no, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
And then the more when people think Austin, they think music. They don't necessarily think comedy.
Yeah, you don't think arts in general.
Much, yes, but there's so much.
A lot.
And I've been following a lot of local comedians. I mean, I was telling you, I started doing comedy myself, and I just got immersed into this world. And it is. We've got a lot of talented people in the city. We're really blessed to have so many people. Now, you teach as well.
Yeah, I teach, I direct, I perform.
How do you teach someone improv? I know that this time, maybe the short answer is come take my class, shut the fuck up.
No.
But what?
No, this question comes up a lot.
How do you bring that out of people?
Yeah, I mean, you train people's instincts, right? I think the best analogy is, training people in any sport like basketball. You drill certain things. You drill shooting. You drill dribbling, you drill defense, you drill all these things, but you don't know in what combination they're going to come up in the game.
Right.
You then got to follow the ball, right?
Gotcha.
And I think in improv, you learn character, you learn status, you learn how to use your space, you learn how to use your body and your voice. You learn all these things, but you don't know what pattern it's going to come out. You just got to follow the ball.
Are there different schools or different schools of thoughts when it comes to improv?
Yeah, there are different schools of thought, and I think one of the things that also makes Austin unique is Austin has attracted a lot of people like me from different backgrounds, different cities.
Okay.
Right? I come in with a very particular school of thought. I partnered up with this guy, Tom Booker here, who came from Chicago and LA. He worked with The Annoyance and Second City, and that's a different school of thought. And there's a lot of people trained in Johnstone here. And you would have a lot of people moving here, or you would have people moving away, studying a lot, bringing it back. And so there was no one way to do it here.
So there is a style.
There are different styles. Yeah, I think, so we have 5 different schools, and each school has its own kind of style.
Interesting. So it is very similar to comedy when you think there's a New York type of stand-up.
Yeah.
There's an LA type of stand-up.
Right.
That's interesting.
Have you tried improv?
I haven't, no.
Have you thought to try improv?
Maybe I have. And I wouldn't know, besides taking the class, I wouldn't know how to bring it out. If it's just, because I always thought of it as a very, think of it like freestyling in hip hop. That's always how I thought about it, right?
Sure, it is freestyling.
It's that you're bouncing off other people, which helps. And one thing I learned, I was talking to Jay Revis. Yeah, that's what it was. And he was telling me that there's that one quote-unquote rule where whatever the yes and rule, I think it's called.
Yes
which
and.
basically you have to go with the flow and just let things.
You got to accept it as reality and add to it.
Exactly. And that's the scary part.
Is it really?
I know.
But here's the thing: you got to recognize that the other person's going to be yes-anding you, right? So any idea you come up with, they're immediately going to embrace it and add to it. Right? And that kind of helps empower you and your ideas.
And is it sometimes just I just want to throw you off?
Oh, sure. There are a lot of people that
I'm just gonna fuck
sure.
with you. Like, all right, you're a crippled lesbian midget.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I mean, there are people that I play with specifically with the idea that we're going to fuck with each other and throw each other into strange scenes just to roll with it, and it's all good. I mean, yeah.
Is it there is this, the audience is involved. I've seen that so far when they ask for a premise early and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to draw a parallel between improv and stand up a little bit, and where have you ever been in a situation where like the audience was actually uncomfortable with what you were portraying or the scenario or the character or whatever, and how did you go about that?
Oh man,
it's tough, right?
Which instance do I pick back?
I'll give you a character that you're like, you know what, this is gonna suck, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and the audience is gonna react. It's not gonna like it, but it's part of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the prime example.
Mm-hmm.
So here in Austin, there's something called Frontera Fest. Have you checked out Frontera Fest?
No, I haven't.
So it's this festival of I know. I'm on a thing. I'm doing a thing.
You got a microphone.
It's like how this can't be more obvious what I'm involved in. That was a moment. So Frontera Fest is this festival of theater, and they would you would have 5 different groups perform a theatrical piece, and my improv group Confidence Men signed up, and Confidence Men does improvised Mamet. Are you familiar with David Mamet, the playwright?
No,
Glenn Ross.
Yes. Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard-edged, misogynist, foul-mouthed male characters, right? And we ended up in a show. It was us, and the other 4 acts were all one-woman shows.
Oh, shit.
And I'm playing this guy who's like, I'm embracing how much of an asshole he is. He's an asshole. And I called one of the other characters a cunt because it felt natural, like he would use that language.
Yeah.
And Mamet uses that language a lot. And the audience gasped when I used the word cunt. So I used the word 2 more times.
Just to get a reaction?
No,
Because it's part of the character?
It was true to the character, and I believe any reaction's a good reaction.
I believe
they
so,
had
too.
an understanding of him.
I believe so.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like Andy Kaufman. You know Andy Kaufman.
Sure.
It's like any reaction is good.
Right.
Right? So, that kind of stands out at the moment of like...
Holy shit.
I
don't know. To me, it's hard. It's hard to offend me, and I always respect the art. And I think that there is an agreement when you go to a comedy show, or an improv show, or a sketch show that look, we're here to entertain you. We're here to make you laugh.
Right.
It can not be funny to you.
Right.
But this is the agreement we have right now.
Also, I think the agreement in comedy is we're gonna test some shit out.
That's the
we
whole
gotta
point.
push against. We
Thank
gotta push
you.
against some walls.
Thank you.
Right, because comedy is about innovation. We can't just keep doing the same jokes because those aren't going to surprise you anymore. And I'm not saying surprise as in we got to shock you. We got to do shock stuff.
Sure.
But we got to go against the expected, and we can't do that without pushing against some walls as far as what you would normally expect in that situation.
I truly believe that comedians are modern-day philosophers. I really do.
I don't know. Some of them are just drunks.
Yeah, there's some assholes in any art, but I think.
But some of the old philosophers were all drunks too, so I guess it all works.
All right, Asaf. What can people find you? Your classes, all that good stuff.
Well, I've got a website, yesand.com.
Okay.
And
you got that one?
Yeah, I bought it in '99. I bought that URL in '99.
That sounds late already. Holy shit, you're lucky.
Yeah. I lucked out. Nobody bought it. Wow. I bought it. So I have some stuff up there, and I'll be having some classes coming up and some shows coming up, and I'll announce through that as well.
All over town, Fallout, Hideout, Cold
Yeah,
Town.
Fallout, Hideout, Institution Theater, all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much, Asaf. I really appreciate it.